Good afternoon, and thank you for joining me. Much has changed over the past 2 weeks here in Prineville. Last week, our community began phased reopening. It has been wonderful to see so many local businesses reopening their doors. I and a number of other people finally had the opportunity to get our haircut. What a relief. But seriously, and far more importantly, we still have only one positive case of COVID 19 in Crook County. Thank you all for your efforts in staying healthy. Crook County is now under phase one reopening. The approach the city and the county follow is the law of the state. The governor's emergency declaration has been challenged in court, and we await the Oregon Supreme Court's decision. We are moving forward at the pace allowed. I want to thank our incredible community for their patience. At the city level, in a health crisis, we follow the state laws. As we move forward, we want to maintain the progress we've made. The Prineville City Council will be considering its policy on keeping the city offices closed to walk-in traffic, but otherwise operating as usual. One thing I want to stress, and I want to be very clear on, the city's policy does not, did not, and will not restrict your rights. Our responsibility is to provide assistance to the community. In order to provide assistance and access to the financial resources for the city, for the residents, and for the local businesses in the community in reopening, we need to be in compliance with the state mandates. The state controls the distribution of federal stimulus dollars, $1.6 billion of federal stimulus dollars, some of which ought to come to the city of Prineville. Our efforts are and will continue to be focused on assisting access to those resources that our state and federal tax dollars, yours and mine, have paid for. It has been wonderful to learn that nearly 90% of the local businesses that applied for the local grants have been funded and have been successful and now have received those dollars. It's been a big relief to a number of the local businesses to have those dollars in hand so that they can continue moving forward. That's it for my part. With me today, I have the privilege of introducing Zach Lampert, our PGA golf professional. Zach was raised here in Prineville and is now the manager of Meadow Lakes Golf Course, which is now 27 years old. We started that project back actually in 1989. 1990, we began construction, so 30 years ago, we began the project. And Zach is now managing the golf course. And tell us, Zach, how has COVID-19 pandemic affected the golf course?
Hi, Steve. Thanks for having me. Definitely has been an interesting time here at the golf course the last 6 or 8 weeks. Fortunately, we were able to stay open through all this. The golf community, I think, rallied behind this pretty hard early on and came up with a number of things early on that allowed us to stay open, such as we inverted our cups so your ball doesn't fall in the hole as far. We removed all the bunker rakes. We went to single riders on the golf carts. Took all the touch points away on the golf course, essentially, so that people could still play in their groups. There's plenty of space to be spread apart, but you're eliminating areas that multiple people are touching. And so that made it safe to continue playing through the process. And we're, again, very fortunate that we were able to stay open, unlike some of the other businesses. So happy about that. As far as revenues are concerned, we saw things decrease a little bit late March and through April. Just kind of the uncertainty, I think, around some of our membership annual pass type sales, that people weren't quite ready to commit their money until they knew for sure we were going to be able to stay open. But once they saw that that was the case, we have seen revenue start to increase again here in May and make up for what we lost. And our daily play's been busier than normal. So people are taking advantage of the ability to get out and be in some open space and get to play golf. So we're happy about that.
Zach, what do you expect for the rest of the golf season in regard to the pandemic?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's kind of the great unknown right now, how this is going to affect us moving forward. We definitely have seen a decrease in events. Pretty much haven't run any tournaments since all this started. We did recently get our men's league and women's league up and running, which has been nice. But we do a number of fundraisers here. I think last year we did about 12 fundraisers. And so far we've had 15 events cancel from either mid-March and then all the way through the season. Mostly the big shotgun events. So we have a lot of fundraisers where everybody shows up at the same time. They get ready to go. They warm up. They go out and play, start at the same time, finish, go in the restaurant, have meals. So those types of events are pretty much tabled for the moment. Can't gather. We can still run some events with tea time. So people come out and, one group at a time, and it's more spaced out and not as gathering oriented. So kind of a bummer for the local charities that require money to be made, and golf's been a good avenue to raise a lot of funds in the community. I think we've helped raise over 100,000 each of the last several years for various charities. So kind of a bummer to see those things go away.
Yeah.
We're working on junior golf, hopefully being able to get some of our junior programs up and running this summer. So we've just been taking a little bit of a wait and see approach, but it looks like if we get into phase 2, that'll be a time when we'll be able to start some junior programs up again. So we're making some progress, but still a ways to go as far as getting through all this. So
Thank you. The restaurant was leased out in February of 2019. How has that been handling the first phase of the reopening?
Yeah, so Ron took over, as you mentioned, last February. Things were going pretty well for him. He had built up a nice clientele of business when the shutdown happened. So he was doing takeout only and was able to keep the snack bar open for golfers during this process. He got open Monday. They've seen a good number of customers this week so far. Their first week open. They have, of course, follow all the rules that are put out by the governor as far as restaurants being open. So tables are closed in certain areas so they can be spread out. We're fortunate that we have that big banquet room, so he set that up for daily seating as well. So we still have a good capacity for people that want to come in and eat. And he's open 7 to 7, 7 days a week. So I think the whole crew over there has been definitely chomping at the bit to get back open. So they're happy to see their customers back in person again.
Well, that's good news to hear. Also, with the good weather or the better weather just around the corner, will they be able to serve out on the patio?
Yeah, we have just kind of our limited outside seating set up right now that we leave all winter, but our plan is to get it out, all of our main patio seating this week. So hopefully that'll be done soon and people can sit out on the patio and enjoy the nice weather. It's supposed to be in the 80s next week. So
That's what I hear.
Yeah, we're happy about that.
So you just finished a major remodeling project in the pro shop. Tell us about that.
We did, yes. This was kind of a fun project that we had on the radar for a while, and we're just waiting to pull the trigger on. We had a really nice locker room. It was built well, nice lockers, but the space was just not really utilized that much. It's kind of a locker rooms turned into more of a country club type of thing, I think, than our type of golf, public golf. They just weren't utilized that much. So it seemed like a really good area to expand our pro shop into just because of its location right on the other side. We were able to punch through one wall, not that big of an opening, build just a couple walls, and then just mainly do some finish work. So it was a pretty easy remodel from that standpoint, from a building standpoint. And it almost doubled our retail space as far as the amount of product we can carry. We had seen an increase in our merchandise sales the last 5 or 6 years. So we were starting to carry more stuff, and we just didn't really have the space for it. We were pretty crammed in the shop. So it's been nice to have that extra space so we can carry a little bit more, display it nicer. It's also been nice during this process because we have more room now to spread people out in the shop and not have people as close together. So that's been an added bonus that we didn't know that we would get it, that we were going to need a while back. But yeah, it really turned out well. If you haven't seen it, I know you have seen it, but other people who haven't, if they're golfers, they should come take a look. We got a lot of nice stuff in there, and it just turned out good. So we're happy.
Well, for those of us who were involved 30 years ago in the beginning of this project,
Yeah.
we did not have the foresight to have the pro shop the size that it really needs to be. So
Yeah.
I guess shame on us, but I'm glad you were able to do the work that you're doing now. By the way, now the golf course, we figured after 25 years, the irrigation system would need renovation. So we're now up to 27 years. So
Yep.
tell us about the status of the irrigation renovation that we budgeted for this biennium.
Yeah, so we hired a consultant. Greg Baer does irrigation consulting all over the West Coast, really, a lot of work in the Pacific Northwest. And he's been really good for us. He did a full master plan and GPS mapped the golf course. We have a really solid plan of what we would like to have done. And he's just in the final stages of finishing up the bid document. So we're going to be going out to bid for that project very soon, and here in the next, I would say, month at the most. So the plan is to bid it with phases, so we could potentially do the whole project if depending on what the cost comes in at, or potentially do a phased approach where we maybe do leave out the driving range or something else. There's some options there if it comes in over budget. We're just not quite sure yet. I'm not sure how the pandemic is going to affect what the bids may look like. So we'll just have to wait and see. But we are moving forward, like I said, going out to bid here soon. And we're hopeful that we can start that project in the fall if everything comes in the way we're hoping. So that'll be nice. Like you said, it's 27 years old. The system, for the most part, held up well. Some of the parts are becoming obsolete. I know the technical stuff is all outdated. The computer system. Essentially, we have an older, what they call a block system. So we have big areas that are controlled on one controller. So it might have a low spot that's really wet and some other areas that have different type of soil that's dry, and they're controlled by the same controller. So we have to choose whether or not we're going to be a little dry or a little wet. And so the new system allows individual head control, so you can get better coverage across the golf course. And they're more water efficient, which isn't as big of a deal for us since of the type of water we use. But it'll really be a good project for the golf course, and it should really increase the help to improve the play quality even more than what we already have, which is pretty good, I feel. So
great. Zach, is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
I don't think so. Just we're gearing up for a busy Memorial Day weekend here, and happy that it looks like we're going to have pretty nice weather for a change. Memorial Day seems like it's usually pretty wet, so we're happy to have some sunshine. And if people haven't been out on the golf course, come out and give it a try. It's in good shape, and I think everybody's been pleased with the efforts that we've made in all the other golf courses to be able to stay open through all this, and we're trying to do our best to make sure it's safe for people. So,
well, Zach, thank you very much for joining us.
You bet. Thank you.
And speaking of Memorial Day weekend, as we head into the weekend, more outdoor recreation is available under the Phase 1 reopening. We encourage people to stay local, stay safe, so that together we enjoy the outdoors, making responsible decisions so that we can keep moving towards Phase 2. Thank you for joining me. Have a safe, enjoyable Memorial Day weekend. Stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you.